So a lot of you guys have asked for updates on all of these products that I previously have purchased. Sorry, I'm listening to a lecture right now, rather than making this like a chatty video, just kind of giving you my thoughts while simultaneously like maybe background noise, learning something. I know, you guys can't hear it, but anyways, so we have a bare face, and yeah, I'm actually gonna get started with under eye concealer because that is the way I like to start these get ready with me, so at least as the eyeshadow progress I don't look like super scary. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my concealer. So my most recent concealer purchase was my Rare Beauty, what is this called? I don't know, I forget what it's called, but it's the concealer. And you guys, this has become honestly one of my favorite things. I have it in the shade 150C, and it blends seamlessly underneath my eyes. I know a lot of people kind of didn't have very impressive thoughts on the concealer because it's not enough coverage for them, but I am a less is more type of person when it comes to coverage. Like, I'm not looking for a full coverage concealer on an everyday basis, and if I do, I could just load up like my medium coverage ones, but this one underneath my eyes, it just blends beautifully because the shade is just right. Usually when I put concealer underneath my eyes that I also use on the rest of my face, which I know, or just other colors that I think that will match me, usually in this area right here, you'll be able to see like the stark difference of concealer against the rest of my face, just because it's really hard for me to find an exact match to my real skin tone and not to like what I put on as a foundation. And this concealer doesn't do that. I'm not sure if it has to do with a little bit of the color slash the blendability, but I just love the way that it looks. Like, I can just do this and be fine because it's a very spot on match in my opinion, for my under eyes for the rest of my face, and I don't have to worry about product bunching up right here, which tends to be an issue with me. I don't know if it has to do with because I put a lot of moisturizer on because my skin is very dry, but this doesn't do that. So the Rare Beauty concealer has really become one of my all-time favorites. So in my makeup haul, I did purchase two palettes from Viseart. I bought the Midsummer and the Solstice. I've actually used the Midsummer more because that's what intrigued me at first for the colors, but because I know for what I'm wearing today and kind of like what the jewelry I kind of want to wear later on, I'm gonna go with Solstice because it is a little bit more of a warm tone palette, and I just want to play around with it a little more because I haven't had the chance to so much. But Viseart just has amazing quality, and I knew like I wasn't gonna make a bad choice by purchasing these. So I'm just gonna go into this shade first, which it doesn't have a name because it's like a petite palette. Yeah. I know I just did like the little fall tutorial situation, so I'm gonna try to not make it look like those. And if you haven't watched it, it's just kind of like my go-to daily kind of eyeshadow looks during this time of year, because you know it's fall, it's supposed to be orange, except I'm in a desert, so it's just brown and dry and whatever, and then the leaves are gonna fall, the brown dead leaves. I know this shade isn't blending out, but that's because of the brush. It's more of a stiff brush, and for when I place like darker colors on the outer corner and when I'm starting off as the base of my eyeshadow, I just like to place it first and then use other colors to kind of blend it out. Maybe I'll try to blend it out just a little bit, but I mostly just use this for concentrating in this portion of my crease, just to kind of guide as what I want to do and what other color placements of color eyeshadow I want to do. Gonna go back one shade in regards to lightness and just use a little bit more of a fluffier brush, and now actually go into my crease to blend a little bit more. So I just like to place the product first because I tend to go for a lot lighter eyeshadows. I don't like it to look too dark. That's just me personally. It's what I prefer on myself. I know a lot of people rock like banging dark eyeshadows and like falsies and everything, but that's just that's too much effort for me personally on an everyday basis, and even just for YouTube. So I just do what I do every day on here. And that's what I think makes me a little different than like the standard semi-beauty person. And now like that blends perfectly into that darker, slightly darker, not darker, outer corner color that I did. And there's just a little bit more of a seamless transition. Again, I'm very light, not very dark, so it might look like very plain Jane, but it's everyday for me, and it just, I don't know, it's appropriate for me, and I feel the most comfortable in like these type of looks. I'll spice it up a tiny bit for you guys. I'm going back in with that first brush that I use. It's a little bit more stiffer, like traditional baby crease brush. And I'm just gonna boop into that dark brown. And I'm just gonna pat it in to kind of blend it out, because I don't want it to be too blended. I want there to be a little bit more of a definition, and if I blend it, it's just gonna make the whole thing a little bit darker, and I just want that outermost crease to be dark. What shimmery shade to use? I think I'm gonna go with this one. I'm actually just gonna use my finger because I think that's the best way to get shimmer on, is with your finger. This probably could have gone into my fall look thing, but I feel like it all would have been very similar, so I did not. Yeah, and so this is definitely more of an everyday thing. I mean, you could definitely like deepen it up for your deepness loves if you used a lot more of the dark brown, or if you used a lot more of like the darker shimmery shades. But I'm actually going to take a little bit of that chrome, so pretty, and I'm just going to put it on top of that first shade, and it gives it more of like a pink fluorescent hue, and it's a little bit more shiny. And then taking that brightest shimmery shade and placing that in my inner corner, because Renee loves her pops. And then I'm just going to quickly put on mascara, nothing new, L'Oreal Telescopic, and I will be right back. I'm not doing liquid liner today because I did the little darker crease, so I like to keep it comfortable for me, and that's not doing liquid liner. I know, wild. So you guys wanted updates on this. I didn't buy this semi-recently, but it is a newer foundation to me of this quarantine period. I don't know, I bought it back a while ago, but not too long ago, and you guys wanted updated thoughts. And honestly, when I do wear this now, which is not always, because you know, I'm not gonna waste Fenty, I really do enjoy this. Everyone kind of like was like, oh, it kind of looks like the IT Cosmetics CC cream, which I have it in like a medium shade. I like this way more, and I have gone through like 3 to 4 bottles of IT Cosmetics CC cream, and I think this is officially going to replace it. It just sets, and then it sits on the skin a lot nicer than the CC cream. Yes, you don't have the SPF 50, but that's why you just apply sunscreen before you do your foundation. So I really love it. I love the way that it looks. It sits, if you put powder over it, it looks a lot nicer than the IT Cosmetics CC cream. So this has definitely overtaken the place in my heart for the IT Cosmetics CC cream. So I'm only going to put a little bit because, you know, we're going to be wearing masks. So I'm just going to dot it in my problem areas as well as on my forehead. And the way that I like to use this for the most part, by taking a brush like this and kind of just spreading it out on my face, and then going in with like a wet sponge afterwards just to blend in the lines. But this brush does a pretty good job on that. So really, I'm only for the most part getting this areas that are a little bit more exposed when wearing a face mask as well as my problem areas. Just because I am going out today and I hate getting makeup on my mask. I could set it with like Urban Decay's setting spray so it won't budge, but I like to say those for special occasions, or like if I'm with other people and constantly taking on and off my mask, like if we're going out to eat, supporting our local businesses type of situation. And I'll just do a little bit right here. But because it's just me, myself, and I today running some gift errands, because we have so many things coming up as holiday season approaches, I'm not putting it all over. And I really do love the coverage that it gives compared to other foundations that I do have, because, sorry, I'm not flipping you off, I just had a little bit more foundation on my finger and I just wanted to apply it just a teeny bit more. And even like that, like there's no lines. It blends in so nicely. The coverage is definitely like a high medium. If I did another layer, I'd be perfect. But again, because this part of my face is probably going to be covered up with a mask, I'm not going to go over it. If I wanted to be full coverage, I just add a little bit of concealer. And if I just wanted like a high coverage, I would just add another layer in this area. It does so well in covering up this problematic area that I have, where I have a lot of acne marks and texture, not just over the skin, but like acne marks under the skin. So it's really hard to cover because those puppies are like, if I get hot, like it inflames red. That's what happens when they're under the skin. And I'm always very happy with the coverage amount. Like, yes, they still peek through, but it's not to the like, oh my god, don't look at myself, or like don't look at my cheeks, because, you know, it's not, to me, like it doesn't look the nicest. So I love that I still feel pretty good with just the one small layer of foundation, which I wouldn't even say is like a full layer, because I dot it one pump like all over my face. So I'm very happy with it, and just the way that it sits, like I said, it's beautiful. Is in like my top 2 foundations now. It used to be the It Cosmetics CC Cream and the Lancome Tinted Idol, and now this has replaced the CC Cream's place. So I just did my brows off camera, since we are just talking about new makeup and this is nothing new. So the next thing I would normally do is go in with my cream bronzer, and truthfully, I love the way that sits on the face and the way that it goes on, but I haven't been able to test out longevity, because every time I put it on, I've had to wear a mask and it just ends up rubbing off. But I'm gonna avoid putting on powder bronzer today and just keeping this on. So Fenty Butter Biscuit O2 cream bronzer. I'm taking a synthetic brush and just kind of using this a little bit as a contour, a little bit as a bronzer. It's a lot more cool toned, which, you know, looks a lot more natural, which we know I'm all about enhancing your natural features and making it look like, yes, you have it on, but it's not like a lot. She's just wearing a little bit, and that's what I love about cream bronzers and what you can achieve with them. And then whatever's left, I'm just gonna run on my forehead, because trust me, there is quite a bit left. So yes, it is a bronzer, but it's definitely not like a make you look tan bronzer. It's just to add more like dimensions in your face, which is a nice change, because I've been using my Chanel Tan du Soleil, which tends to be a little bit more on the orange side. So that does look more like a sun-kissed bronze than like a bronzer to add color to your face. And this, it might just be like my skin tone as well as the color I personally have, but it looks like what I would try to do with the powder bronzer, but a little bit more. It spreads more easily because it's a cream, so there's less product on your face. And again, just going through the enhancing your natural beauty, not looking like, which there's nothing wrong with that, but for what I like to do my makeup on an everyday basis, this is perfect. So I do love the way that it looks, but I can't report back, unfortunately, yet on longevity, because I just have to wear it on a day, all day, that I'm not wearing a mask, and that just has not happened yet, and unfortunately is not gonna happen today either. Next up on the new makeup that I purchased were the Rare Beauty liquid blush. You guys, I freaking love them. I do have to be careful on how I blend in, specifically the darker color, which is Joy, because I notice if I rub too much where I applied the dot, I do get like a little like patch where it looks a lot lighter, but that's just with the darker shade, and that tends to happen with things that are more pigmented. However, Bliss, which is a lot lighter and a lot more natural, blends in beautifully, and I love the way that this looks on the skin. I don't know which one to use. I could really wear either of them, but because I wear this one more on an everyday basis, and for the purpose of this video, I will wear Joy, which is a lot brighter, and you know, joke, just need one dot, and like that's after scooping off the product. Like, yeah. The best way I found to apply this is actually with your fingers rather than a sponge. And I'm just gonna use my viewfinder, which, you know, use what God gave you, but I think the way that this applies, slash the way that you can just pat it into your skin, like if you're gonna lift off product, you're lifting it off everywhere, although the products that I'm using, I haven't had that issue, but I just love the way that it looks like when you use your fingers, because I do find that the lifting of the product tends to happen when I try to blend it in with the sponge, but realistically sometimes you don't have time to always just like sit here and like la 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 la, and with the sponge it's a lot easier. I just gotta make sure I get product off my fingers here. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna go back with my wet sponge that I used for my concealer, just because with your fingers you do have a little bit less control. So I have like way higher blush on this side than on this side, so I'm just gonna, you know, try to remove a little bit of it with the leftover concealer, and this just helps blend the edges, which I also like to do on my cheeks, but I don't tend to have that issue on this area because of the bronzer. And I'm really just pressing it. I'm not even like pouncing it. I'm just boop, barely like touching my face just to make sure it blends pretty nice. Just a light little wash of color. If I put on more, like in my pumpkin tutorial where it was like seriously like orange because I wanted to look like a pumpkin, I used that blush in that one, which looked perfect, but it is quite a lot, and it is a little bit heavier, like a blush thing, and not everyone's going for that all the time, but you can definitely do that with Joy from Rare Beauty. But I love these blushes. The wear is okay, so there is that, but I think it looks absolutely beautiful and it blends a lot easier, but you do have to be careful again with getting the little patches on your face, because that can easily happen with these. I am just gonna quickly set my face all over with the Makeup Forever Super Matte Loose Powder, and that's everywhere underneath the eyes, just because I am in Arizona and it's still 100 degrees, like high 90s throughout the day. Of course I'm wearing a sweater now because the nights and the mornings are cool, and I know I've worn this sweater in the last video, but I just love it. Okay, I wasn't able to use this because I bought this at the beginning of quarantine, but California stays cold for a long time. Arizona doesn't from spring to summer, so I haven't been able to wear it, so I'm trying to get all my loving that I couldn't do when I got this now. So yeah, I'm just gonna set my face, and I like that none of the product really tends to go away. Like, yes, did I just go a little bit more matte, but it'll come back through like sweat and sweat realistically, because I have dry skin, but it'll just be glowy later from sweat because it's 100 degrees, if I haven't already mentioned like 50 billion times. But also I like using super matte powder when it comes to mask wearing because it helps the makeup just cling a slightly bit more. Again, probably would save myself all the trouble if I just used a setting spray, but I don't want to use a setting spray. That's like an extra step I don't really want to do. So super matte powder is a lot easier. So that is the thoughts on all my semi-recent makeup purchases. I think just to finish it off, I need a little bit of an orange lip, but I don't have any new orange lip products, truthfully. And you know, I don't like wearing lip products if I'm gonna wear a mask because no one can see it and it just gets all over the mask. But yeah, there's actually a couple new makeup products I want, but I don't need, so I'm not gonna get. Haha. Haha, especially after this purchase. But I so far like everything. I'm very content. There's not anything I regret buying, which is always amazing. But yeah, let me know what you think of these products if you've tried them out in the comments down below, and I hope you are having a great, amazing day wherever you are. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Why haven't you yet if you're watching this? Although, but if you liked it, make sure you give this video a thumbs up because it does help me, and your girl's trying to pay off her student loans, and I'm just gonna keep saying it until I pay off my student loans. Alright, I will see you guys all in my next one. Bye!